PACK EXPO East returns to Philly in February of 2026. It's your East Coast connection for packaging and processing solutions. Be there to catch up on the latest industry advances, connect with suppliers, and land on the right solutions for your entire production line, from automation and sustainability to e-commerce and much more. Register today at packexpoeast.com. You're listening to Unpacked with PMMI, where we share the latest packaging and processing industry insights, research, and innovations to help you advance your business. Hi, and welcome to Unpacked with PMMI. I'm your host, Sean Riley. In this episode, we talk with Charlotte Ashcraft of Just Born Incorporated, the people behind Peeps and Mike and Ike's. She talks to us about how PACK EXPO East helps CPGs and brand owners solve real packaging challenges, from handling delicate products to navigating sustainability and EPR requirements, and why hands-on access to suppliers and technology at events like trade shows matters. Let's have a listen. So with all the fancy introductions out of the way, welcome to the podcast, Charlotte.
Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. So I'm familiar with Just Born, but for our listeners, could you just give us a little bit of a background about Just Born, what you guys make, and what kind of packaging or processing challenges you're focused on right now?
Yeah, sure. So Just Born is a family-owned confectionery company. We've been around for over 100 years, and we're headquartered right here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. We manufacture iconic brands like Peeps, Mike and Ike's, Hot Tamales, and Goldenberg Peanut Chews. And we still make Peeps, Mike and Ike's, and Hot Tamales in the same facility that we've been in since the 1930s in Bethlehem. So that's really interesting, and we can get into that a little bit more because that presents some unique challenges. But Peanut Chews are also still manufactured in Philadelphia. So that's a very beloved brand in the city of Philly. But what really defines Just Born's legacy, though, is the role the company plays in our local community. So being family-owned, we're not just about growth, we're about increasing our positive impact. So when we grow the business, we create more jobs, strengthen local partnerships, and expand the ways that we give back. So that connection between growth, community, and long-term stewardship is a huge part of who we are and how we make decisions.
Love that. Our offices are in Herndon in Chicago, but I'm based in Philadelphia, so I'm very familiar, definitely with the Peanut Chews, but with the Peeps. I've been to Bethlehem a bunch of times, and that's wonderful, the whole community-oriented aspect of it. I love to hear that. Speaking from like a PACK EXPO point of view, you guys have attended PACK EXPO events in Philly and in Vegas, Chicago. What keeps you coming back? How does the show help you address your challenges? How is it helping you address your current challenges? How has it been like a theme that you guys have stuck to every year?
Yeah. So we go and keep coming back to PACK EXPO because it is so practical for our teams. We're able to see equipment, materials, and automation solutions up close and have those conversations about what will actually work in our environment. Given our space limitations, being in a over 100-year-old facility and the delicacy of some of our products, especially Peeps, PACK EXPO helps us identify technologies that can handle those constraints without compromising quality. So it's one of the best places for us to pressure test ideas because we can collaborate with multiple vendors, our own cross-functional team, and then also talk with integrators too, and maybe introduce them to some other solutions that we're interested in exploring, but want to use them as an integrator.
Okay, very interesting. And I know you guys visited PACK EXPO East. You were there personally, and you brought your whole procurement team, which is a thing that we use to promote PACK EXPO East, is that you can bring your whole teams or some maybe junior staff that you might not be flying to Vegas or flying to Chicago with that regional event feel. So what kind of stood out to you, and why was it important to you to be able to bring the whole team down?
Yeah, PACK EXPO, it feels very approachable and focused for us. So it makes it easy to have these meaningful conversations. And bringing our procurement team was important because equipment and supplier decisions are cross-functional by nature. They're involved end-to-end in all of those decisions and solutions too. So having them see those technologies, ask questions directly, and really be able to see the integration between the equipment and the material was important and valuable for them. They're able to hear and see the same information, and it made our follow-up discussions a lot more productive. And it really just helped us align expectations cross-functionally across our team.
Okay, very interesting. And I'm jumping a bit, but how do you approach automating things and robotics for handling things like PEEPs. They're very delicate. We can't do everything manually anymore. It's just not as fast. So how do you guys handle delicate things like PEEPs without compromising the quality you've established for 100 years?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge for us, but it's really forced us to come up with some creative solutions. And that's probably one of the more fun parts of my job.
Oh, cool.
But with products like Peeps, automation has to be designed around the product. The packaging has to be designed around the product, not the other way around. So they're really delicate, especially when they're warm. We actually can't even ship them over to our warehouse until they've hit a 24-hour mark after they've been produced, because the temperature inside of the Peep still hasn't come down to room temperature. So
Wow.
handling is really critical. We spend a lot of time defining packaging and handling requirements up front, and then we work closely with those equipment suppliers to make sure automation solutions are precise, gentle, and reliable. So in some cases, that also means redesigning the packaging structures completely so that they better support automation while maintaining quality and brand integrity. But if that's the best solution for us, we're going to go take a step back and do all of that work and really put out the best product and packaging the first time around.
Very interesting. Okay, another thing that I keep thinking of, especially when you're saying it's a 100-year-old facility, is sustainability type things that people weren't thinking of 100 years ago. We're bringing EPR and extended producer responsibilities coming into play. Sustainability is such a big deal. It's reshaping how people do their packaging. How do you guys tackle that? And has PACK EXPO helped in any way to stay ahead of that sustainability curve?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all the sustainability and regulatory requirements have become a huge part of my own job, but especially EPR, it's really forced us to take such a granular look at our entire packaging portfolio. We were putting out metrics and they were based off of some assumptions. And last year, we just took the time to completely redo everything and take an entire granular look at our whole portfolio. And what we realized was that over 90% of our consumer level packaging is already paper-based and recyclable. So we're starting from a much better starting point than we initially thought.
Yeah, that's a very good place to be starting.
It was time well spent for sure. But one of the remaining challenges is really flexible packaging, and we're actively working to validate recycle-ready structures. PACK EXPO has been a really valuable resource in this area, helping us connect with suppliers and solutions that can support compliance and practicality. We have a very long shelf life on PEEPs, so the testing for that is very long. So we have some of these requirements coming up in 2032, and that seems so far in advance that we have to be in recyclable packaging. But for us, we need to be doing that validation work now.
Interesting. With this shelf life, you have to take that into consideration regardless of how far out it's going. Okay. Can you share maybe a specific PACK EXPO win that we'll call it, where, you guys discovered something on the show floor and you brought it back to Justborn and it turned into something that you guys were able to apply, a real solution that you found there?
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite stories. So one of my favorite PACK EXPO success stories actually started with one of our former interns. She was participating in a student activity through her college at PACK EXPO, and she came across a soft robotic gripper that immediately stood out as a potential solution for handling warm, delicate PEEPs in a pick-and-place application. So she texted our former boss at the time, who texted the engineer who was at PACK EXPO to go take a look at it. And long story short, we ended up implementing that solution along with other automation. So we used an integrator to integrate that soft robotic gripper along with some of their other technology. And a few years later, we applied it to a second packaging line as well. So we have 2 full packaging lines that have this technology still that's working out really well for us. But it's such a great example of how PACK EXPO brings together innovation and problem solving and even workforce development, and just encouraging people to think outside the box and come up with creative solutions.
Yeah, as you were saying it, I was like, this is checking every box that PACK EXPO is trying to offer. That an intern kind of discovered that and set that in motion, and it's something you guys are still using. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay, we're coming up on 10 years of PACK EXPO East in the spring, and we've added the container and materials pavilion, the incubator hub. These are 2 new features that we're adding to the show. What are you personally most excited to see, and what should other CPGs come to PACK EXPO East looking for? What should they be excited about with PACK EXPO East 2026?
Yeah, I'm really excited personally about the containers in the materials pavilion. A large percentage of CPGs come to PACK Expo specifically looking for packaging
Yeah.
materials, and having that concentrated just in one area helps teams think a little bit more holistically about packaging decisions, I think. The Incubator Hub is also exciting because it shines a spotlight on emerging technologies and local innovation, and I'd encourage other CPGs to come check out PACK Expo East, specifically looking for practical solutions or even just meaningful conversations, and think of it as a thought container for a cross-functional team so they can come up with ideas that they can realistically bring back and implement.
Yeah, and you've given us great examples where you were able to bring back and implement. So that's great. And this was great. I thank you, Charlotte, for taking some time out of your day to come on here and give our audience kind of an overview of Just Born and how Just Born has attacked PACK Expo. So thanks again, Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Unpacked with PMMI. If you liked what you heard, be sure to follow or subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. That way, you won't miss any of the industry insights coming your way. While you're there, we'd really appreciate a rating or review. Want more? Visit pmmi.org/podcasts for all of our past episodes and additional resources. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time.